So, welcome back to the Soul Sisters podcast. I'm Kanisha.
And I'm Aisha.
And we just want to remind you that this is a safe place where we discuss all things relationships, career, health, parenting, etc. We hope that you find comfort in knowing that no matter where you are on your journey, you are not alone. So, welcome to episode 2. Um,
And we want to give a big thanks to our sponsors. One of our sponsors is Royal Victory Cosmetics. It's cosmetics that look good on you and are good for you. Royal Victory offers lipsticks in a variety of shades made with green tea extracts and vitamin E. They also offer beard and hair oil made with jojoba and almond oil, leaving your hair feeling delightful. All products are made with natural and safe ingredients. It's vegan friendly and safe for all to enjoy. So check out their Facebook page and Instagram. Again, the name is Royal Victory Cosmetics. So if you want to purchase Royal Victory Cosmetics /square site. Scrap Yarn LLC, handmade crochet clothing made with love and customized just for you. You can check out their collection of handmade tops, sweaters, handbags, hats, and more. Visit the link tree at linktree /Aria J. That's linktree /ARRIA and the letter J. Um, would you like to have a business highlighted on our Soul Sister podcast? If so, reach out to us and send us an email. We do have sponsorship opportunities available. Our email address is soulsispodcast. That's soul, SIS, podcast at gmail.com. And now we'll move on to our fun segment that Kanisha has lined up for us.
So, for this week, we are going to have fun by doing some would you rather questions, and we titled them the Black Girl Edition. And then also, I have another Black History fact for you all. Last week, people were surprised, like I thought, about the Harriet Tubman fact, but now hopefully we are all well educated on that. So, I have another one for you this week. So, for our would you rather question, so again, I said Black Girl Edition. So, if you're not a Black girl, you may not understand, but just listen, you'll still have some fun. So, would you rather have your braids be too tight for a month or have your leave out not match your weave? So, again, if you're not a Black girl, you may not understand that both of these are terrible. So, we are just going to pick the one that's less terrible of the two, but it's a really hard choice. So, Aisha, what would you say?
I think I'll have to go with the leave out not match my weave. I just can't have my hair too tight for a month. That is torture.
I agree. It was the pain level for me. Like I can't do the pain.
I'll work it out with the leave out and I'll match my weave. It just depends on how off it is, you know?
Yeah.
And I could go get some dye maybe, or is this something I just got to live with it?
Well, it would be off in color and texture.
Well, that's called a ponytail. Can I pull it in a ponytail, put some French braids in it or something?
Something to make it work.
Add some other clip-in pieces to make it look like I did that on purpose.
Right. But yeah, the pain, that was it for me. Like I can't take the pain. Like braids too tight, which I think we've all been there. Mm-hmm. But it lasts maybe a week or two. And at the end of that week, you feel like you lost your mind. Because it's like some of it been squeezing out the side of my head for a week. So for a month, I would not be able to do that. So I'm going to go with the leave out not matching
for a month. Well. Yeah. 2 days. After 2 days, that's too much. Enough for me.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one, would you rather have people at work asking how your hair grew so fast every time you get braids or weave, or always have your name being mixed up with the other Black girl in the office? So again, I'll explain for people who are not Black girls. So you go to work, they see you with your regular hair. Next day you get braids. They like, oh, your hair grew so fast. Girl, you know my hair ain't grew this fast. You know that. Like, why would you say that? And then the braids come out. You see my regular hair again. I get some weave. You're like, oh my God. Come on now. Just stop.
Or you take your braids on and be like, oh, you cut your
hair. Yes. So the answer is yes, I did, because I don't even want to have this conversation with you. So out of those two, what would you prefer? Again, they're both non-preferable, but which one?
Well, we've experienced together at the employer the place of employment we both worked at,
Yeah.
I get mixed up
Yes.
between we're about the same height. Our names are similar, but I think I would rather go with getting mixed up versus being asked about my hair, how my hair grew so fast.
Agreed. I'm not surprised we picked the same ones, but I agree. Again, that being asked about your hair growing so that's annoying. Like, just come on, that don't make sense. You mixing me up with the other black girl in the office, whatever. I'm probably not gonna answer you if you call my real name. So if you call me somebody else's name, I'm really not gonna answer you. So therefore, we don't even have to have a conversation. Okay, so for our Black History fact for this week, so Black History Month started out as what was called Negro History Week back in 1926. So if you think these 28 days are short, we only had 7 before. It was celebrated in the second week of February, and it was around Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass's birthdays. So I think Abraham Lincoln's birthday is February 12th, and then Frederick Douglass was February 14th. So it was celebrated in that week. Um, and again, that was in 1926. So in 1976, Gerald Ford, who was the president at the time, ended up making it a full month. So what happened was during like the civil rights time, like in the 60s, that kind of was a catalyst to make it be longer. So finally in 1976, we got a month. Again, it's the shortest month, but we got it.
Yep.
we take what we can get,
Made
right?
official.
So it went from a week to a month. So that I was somewhat aware of, that it started out that small. But if any of you guys weren't aware, hopefully again you learned something
Yeah.
today. And we are still in Black History Month, so just make sure you're representing and doing something. As you can see, Aisha's shirt today, she's representing today.
Yes,
so
black is beautiful.
right, we black all the time, but we are extra black in February. So
and in February, there is another significant holiday. Some don't consider it a holiday, but others do. Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day just passed, so we decided that for the month of February, and for Valentine's Day, we will share some tips for dating. So for all you people out there that are dating, we have some tips that we like to share with you.
or not dating. So
Or not.
or not.
Or not.
Because a lot of people with Valentine's Day, they really do get down on themselves sometimes if they're not dating. So if you don't have somebody, you really are like upset about it. So if you didn't have somebody for this past Valentine's Day, hopefully these tips will get you somebody for next year. So listen and let us know if they work for you. But also, just before we get into the tips, I just want to say, just consider changing your perspective on Valentine's Day. While it's a day for love, and I think it was intended to be like romantic love, you can always extend that to others. First, starting with yourself,
Right.
And then your family, your children, your friends, your coworkers, strangers, whoever it is. So I think anytime there's a day on the calendar carved out for love, we want to be intentional about sharing love with everybody. Obviously, God is love, so we should be doing that all the time, but we know we fall short of doing that. So when you have it on the calendar, make sure you do it on that day, um, and not just romantically. But again, back to the people who really need that, we're going to try to help y'all out today.
Okay, first tip is be honest about your intentions. So if you're looking for dating and you're looking for something serious, you want to be honest up front about your intentions when it comes to dating. But let me back up and I'll say first, get clear about what you want. Why are you dating? Are you looking for romance? Are you looking for something short term? Are you looking for marriage? Are you lonely? Do you just want fun? So get clear about your intentions before dating and be upfront so that other person can know what your intentions are and it won't waste your time or theirs if you're not aligned.
Right. Allow that person to obviously be able to make their decision if they want to be in it or not. I mean, you definitely don't want to start off something so mismatched where you coming in like, yeah, I'm gonna do this for about 2 months, and they're like, I need a wife or a husband or however it goes. So you definitely want to start off on the right foot there. in being aligned and knowing exactly what you want and why you want it and why you're doing it, and then having that other person um, know that for themselves too, and
Yep.
make sure that it aligns together.
Oh. So tip 2, put yourself out there, not being afraid to finally to step out and ask someone out. There's different ways to put yourself out there. Of course, there's dating apps, which I would say use with caution. You just never know what you're going to get on those dating websites. I have heard stories, and so I'll just say be cautious when using those dating apps. Um, you can be set up by a friend if you know a friend who know a friend, and I think that's a safer way to go.
If
Uh,
your friend like you, if they not trying, if they want to see you with somebody for real, just be careful of who the friend is. Make sure they are have your best interest at
well,
heart
be
too.
careful who the friend is too.
True, true.
Yeah. And going to places where single people are, aside from the grocery store and Target. um, Find out where single people are hanging out at in your community. It doesn't have to be a bar. I mean, there's different types of events. I mean, if you go out on Eventbrite, you'll find different events that you can go to, different social events that are hopefully safe, but also maybe meet up, you know, different in a group setting. You can find social groups through that website. It's not necessarily specific for dating, but it is another way or another yeah, another way to go about finding um, places to go where you can find your potential next date.
Right. You just never know, where you could be and that could happen. So it is about actually getting out there and not, sitting at home waiting for somebody to break in. I heard that before. That was so funny to me. Like, how are you ever going to find somebody? Are they just going to break in your house because you never go anywhere? So definitely putting yourself out there, going to events like Aisha said. With the dating apps, obviously you have to be careful. I don't have a lot of information on those. I always think people are trying to catfish people. Maybe I watch that show too much. But for me, I'm like, if I can't like see your face for real or know it's you, then I'm not sure about that. But I'm not saying don't do a dating app. Obviously, it has worked for people in the past, but literally just putting yourself out there, getting out of your comfort
Comfort
zone,
zone. Yep.
and you never know what may happen.
Yep. Next tip is keep an open mind. You got to be open minded about a lot of different things. Not that you change your standards or what you're looking for, but get rid of the idea of a type. Um, if a person doesn't look a certain way, then you s- you want to not give them a chance just because they look because it doesn't fit your type.
Right. And you could be missing out big time because somebody is not tall enough or they don't have a beard or they don't have waves in their hair or they don't have any hair. Whatever it is, you could be missing out simply because that first look, threw you off when they could be, the person that you desire. So again, not not having standards, I think of it as like having a non-negotiable list where there's things like
Yeah.
really grounded things where you are like, if they don't have these things, then that won't work. But then having a list where it can be a little flexible, especially when it comes to looks or when it comes to career or the
Hmm.
kind of car somebody has or something like that. Those more trivial things should certainly be able to be moved and to be flexible on.
Yeah. So the next tip is to set your own pace. Um, you're on your own time. There's no deadline. Um, well, you should put yourself on a deadline, but you set your own pace when it comes to dating. You take your time and you want to form a connection. You know that if that's your goal is to form a connection. If that's not your goal, then disregard that. But setting a pace is really important.
Yeah, so even though we said these dating tips might get you somebody by next Valentine's Day, don't write that down and be like, let me hurry up because it's almost getting to be Valentine's Day next year. Certainly don't have a goal like that. Like literally let it run its course and again, set your own pace. Like don't rush into anything and don't let anybody else rush you into anything. So even if it's the person that you're dating, if you're not at the point where they are, again, let that be known and then see if that person respects that or not, or if they are trying to rush you into something, because that may be an indication of something else um, down the line that you may not want to deal with. So certainly take your time and know that when it's your time, it will happen. And you rushing it is not going to, it may help it to happen faster, but it's not going to help it to be what it needs to be. Like it needs to take its
You want it
time.
to happen or just organically,
Right.
naturally,
Right.
and it take its course the way it's supposed to,
Yep.
and not rush.
Oh yeah. So the next one is to maintain a positive attitude. So that's just with anything in life, but especially with dating. So assuming you'll probably have more than one date, so you'll have to go through a few to find the one. So if you go on on a date and it's like a complete disaster, don't just completely write off dating after that. Like I'm not going out anymore. I'm not doing anything because you had a bad one. Um, Pick out the positive things from it, if there were any that you can take from it, and then just move on to the next one. If there was anything positive that you can take from it, move from it that way. And then if there were negative things about it that maybe you could control, make sure that that doesn't happen in the next time. Um, but just stay positive about it. Obviously, um, like I said, you may have to go through a few to get to the one that you want to get to. I've heard some dating disaster stories, so it's possible that you may have one of those, but don't let that stop you from being out there and continuing to date.
Yeah, and I think if you go in with a positive attitude, not expecting the worst or not expecting it to be like maybe a past date or anything like that, you don't set yourself up for that date to be a disaster. Um, Also, if the date does go or take a wrong turn, I think that you learn a lot about yourself too. You know, you
Hmm.
can take away some positive things, like you said, um, from each date that you go on. So you can learn a lot about what you will and won't do next time. You learn about yourself or your tendencies, what you do like and what you don't like, and um, yeah, you can learn a lot from that.
Right. And if you think of it that way, then that helps it to stay positive. So thinking of a bad date, I always think about did y'all see Daddy's Little Girls when she went on that date? That's what I think of as a bad date. So if your date is not that bad, consider yourself lucky. So if you didn't see the movie, like she went on this date with this guy, he was like yelling at the waiter, he was saying scrimps instead of shrimp. He was 40, he was a rapper, he was like rapping to her real loud in a restaurant. Like it was ridiculous. So if your day is not that bad, again, pick out the positives and move on. Um, Number six is be yourself. So
Yeah.
that might sound like, oh, that's easy to do. But a lot of times when you're dating, especially if you like somebody, sometimes you want them to like you. So then you
Mhm.
start to be what you think they want you to be rather than being yourself. And that's obviously not good. For one, if that works and it continues, you have to continue to keep up this facade of yourself. And they actually
Mhm.
like that person and not really you because you haven't been yourself yet. So they like this person that you're pretending to be, and that's obviously not you.
Yep.
So it's best to be yourself, first of all, so that you know if they actually like you or not. And then you're not wasting time on either end.
Yeah. I mean, it is. They're gonna get what they're gonna get. Like you said, you don't want it. You don't want to have to keep up and maintain that facade because that's not really you, and you're not being fair to yourself,
Right.
and you're not being fair to the other person. And what's the point?
Right. What's the point? Now, like I said, you have to keep up this facade of this person. And I know for me, I forget stuff a lot. I'm been forgot what I told you, who I said, who, what I tell you I did. Oh, I forgot. So that's not going to work. Like that's just more work on your end.
Yep.
And it's so much more peaceful and so much easier to be able to be yourself and to
Hmm.
be able to be yourself with somebody who you know accepts you for you,
For
that
you.
makes it even
Yeah.
better too. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the last one, we had 7 tips. I don't know if we said that in the beginning, but the last one, we're on number 7. Is to go on multiple dates, which I think we talked about a little bit earlier. So go on multiple dates. You can date multiple people, depending on what your definition of that is. So
Right. Yep.
dating, again, it has to be your own definition, but dating doesn't have to mean you're in a obviously a full-blown relationship with 3 or 4 different people. It means that you're going out, you're having a good time, you are talking to them, they're talking to you, you're learning about them and deciding if this is going to be something that's going to move past the dating phase.
It's like shopping.
It's like shopping. You
You're
don't
test
walk in and just get the first shirt you see.
right.
I don't. I have like a bunch of them and then different colors, different sizes because I don't know how this one's going to fit. So,
Yeah.
you take your time. You have a picking of a few and you take your time and put back the ones you don't want and the ones you do. You keep
Yeah.
them on and keep going. But again, being honest about that too.
Right. Because you have to
So,
let a person know, like, we're not. I am dating other people.
right.
Like this is a date. We're going out to eat or we're going to a movie or whatever. But I do go on other dates, and we're not dating exclusively. But then when you get to that point where you're exclusive, you want to,
Make that known too.
make it, yeah, and be official. And then you don't want to have your multiple dates. You're just dating that one person
Right.
and helping it to grow. But I think having an experience in different dates that helps you to narrow down what it is that you're looking for. And it's a test drive. You're
It
just
is.
kind of testing it out and seeing, like, okay, is this a person that I want to possibly pour some more time into and get to know better? But you don't know that if you're not out there putting yourself out there, um and going out on dates.
Yep. And again, like you said, being honest about that. I mean, you don't want to go out on multiple dates with somebody and, by the third date, they're in love. And then you got 2 more dates next week and they wondering why you're not with them all the time. So you definitely want to make that known, that you are out there dating. And again, to whatever level that is that you see fit. So those are all of our tips. Um, they all kind of go together if you think about them all. um Being honest first and foremost with what you want, deciding what that
Mhm.
is, putting yourself out there so that you can put those things into action. Again, if you're just at home all the time, you will never be able to experience anything. Keeping an open mind, having your list. I think we all have a list of who we want and what we want, but knowing that likely it won't be 100% that, especially in the package. I hear people talk about that all the time. So your package and the package in my mind that God wants for you may look totally different. And it may look totally different just because you've designed this and he's like, I'm in control of it. He look like this. He don't look like this. But in the inside, he's all those other things. So if you are not open-minded in that way to even get past that, you will be missing out. Set your own pace. So once you do decide to do all those other things, get yourself out there and all of that, again, set your own pace. Make sure you're not rushing into anything. Keep a positive attitude always. Be yourself. Like we said, you don't want to
Mhm.
have to continue to keep up a facade or have this person like somebody who you're not even. And then to have those multiple dates to make sure that you are seeing all that's out there and
Settling
not
or
being the person, like I said, you go on one day and then you in love and you don't even know what else is out there. It's probably something better. So hopefully, again, like we said, for those like diehard romantics that were sad a few days ago on Valentine's Day, hopefully if you put some of these things into play, um, next year you'll be in a better situation, even if that's not the case, even if you're just dating, returning to the dating pool that you may have been out of for a long time, whatever the case, hopefully these tips helped you. So, we're going to close it out now. But before we do, I just want to say, we want to say thank you to all the listeners who listened to our first ever introduction podcast. It has been received very well. We've been getting a lot of comments from DMs to comments on our page to comments in other places we've shared it. Hopefully we've been able to get back to everybody. But thank you so much. We hope that you continue to listen. We're so glad that you enjoyed it. We ask that you send us any comments, any questions, anything you want us to talk about, topic suggestions, or anything like that to our email. And we will certainly take a look and try to implement those as much as possible. But again, we just thank you so much. And we ask that you continue to listen, not only listen, but share it.
Yes.
Um, what do people say? Share, like, subscribe, all the things. I know we all watch YouTube at some point. Do all that stuff they be telling y'all to do. Do
Yeah.
all of that. We really appreciate it.
So, again, thank you for listening and tuning in. And we hope that you tune in next month, where for the month of March, we will be talking about women's history. We do have some guest speakers lined up, and we hope that you will tune in to check out and see who those are. If you didn't have a soul sister before, now you have two. We want to thank you all for tuning in, and we look forward to talking with you next time.
Bye.
Bye.